Welcome back to Case Closed, Anime Review, episode number 60. Yeah, it's about time I did this one after like a week after the last episode came out. Yes, this one I'm reviewing episodes 363, 364 of the anime, which is Kogoro Mouri's Grand Lecture, Part 2 and Part 3, and the 1045th chapter of the manga, The Meijin's Hand. Yes. Now, the thing with part two is, I have been delaying this episode for like a week, mainly because this past week I have not had the time to watch this episode. Like, I get to watch this episode and I get too late. Yep, excuse me, mainly due to the fact that I'm out a lot of the time this past week, and the fact that I work late a lot of the time this past week, so I've had no time to watch this one. This is by far the first time since episode 27 of this anime review series that I've actually reviewed, when it comes to the anime itself, reviewed more than one episode. This one I'm reviewing two. Let's start, now in case you're wondering, these are technically TV original episodes, technically filler, but it's great. And the episode, in the case of part two, now it was revealed at the end of part one that now basically in part one we had two murders happen at the same exact time. The second murder is solved pretty quickly, because they kind of determined the time of death being like 250, and they confirmed that, yeah, the old man who said he killed her, killed the owner of the station, yep, he definitely did kill her. His motive, he felt disrespected by her, and a lot of the stuff he started basically we discontinued, so he killed her with his frickin' cane. Yep. And surprisingly, Richard Moore is actually very accurate when it comes to accusing of murder. But he failed the cane trick. He is a murderer, but wrong victim. So he's mostly right. So surprisingly, he actually solved the case without a little bit of nudging from Conan. Of course, May, who've been in this entire three-parter, yeah, her whole situation is revealed in part 3. As for the first murder, that is actually revealed to be the former bodyguard. Yep, he was the one behind it. Yep. And for it, well, he had been tailing a woman who actually been stalking the actor who died. And it turned up his ex-girlfriend. She wanted an apology from him and some domestic charges. So, basically, the whole situation basically kind of backfired on the former actor. So he fired him and basically sort of blackballed him by basically telling everybody he's a useless person. He's useless. So his company was forced to bankruptcy. So he had no choice but to kill him because he ruined his reputation. All because of one situation. One. Was his repeated attempts? No, it's like one woman. Yeah, apparently because he's an actor, he has the pull to do that. For some reason. I have no idea why. Yep. Yep, and how he managed to pull off the whole little cane trick similar to what the old man pulled off, it turns out he has a telescopic night scope. Basically, pull the thing on and just whip somebody with it. And, yeah, apparently kept it on him as sort of a habit. Yeah, apparently keeps it behind his back, basically in the same place that supposedly someone who's a gangster would keep a freaking gun. Yes, I've seen movies where guys would keep their guns in the back of their freaking pants. Like, they would pull it back of their pants, put the gun there, and they would keep it there as sort of like an insurance or whatever. Yeah, this is very similar to that, but the thing is, the guy probably had a holster in the back of his belt to put the nightstick there. And yeah, he was found to really be the murderer. And that was that. During the episode, we see these mysterious stones pop up. Yes, pop up in two separate crime scenes, and pop up at the end of part 2 in Aries' dressing room. Forgot to mention it when it comes to Aries. Prior to this episode, this was the first time since episode 902 she's been seen. So, by the time this three-parter started, it was the first time in 60 episodes since she was last seen in the anime. Great to see her. And, yeah. And the whole thing with May, who they've been sort of hinting at the first two parts. Yep, and of course, Conan calls the Junior Detective League. who basically the soccer game is over, so they call him back to the TV studio to deal with this whole rock situation. And it turns out, though, that this is actually a code taken from Case Week found in May's locker. Yep. And it turns out she's actually a student in criminal psychology. Interesting. And, like, she wanted to, and it's revealed that she's the one who planting all this just to get to Richard Moore, to Kogoro Mouri. And it turns out, though, that, well, he was not the target. Nope. She figured out he was going to kill her, but lucky enough that she was able to. It turned out real talk, it was Eri. Why? Because it was revealed that he had been. She supposedly thought that she quit working representing him. Turns out she was dismissed by him as his lawyer when they revealed what the true motive was. Yeah. And so Conan, basically, who had knocked out Richard Moore, revealed that the whole coded message was actually spelled Kutsuki, aka Rand's mother. Which I'm like, Rand is a martial artist. She can easily run up to the stage and take out. Like, I was kind of hoping that, because she's sitting there in the audience. Did the writer forget of this episode that she is someone who knows. She's a karate. She knows karate. And she's very good and she has a lot of raw strength. As for why she didn't run up there and take her down so easily, well, they kind of want to save Richard Moore. Probably because they want to have people jump from the audience to take down someone with a freaking knife. And probably because the writer probably thought this was probably staged. Yep, that's what probably the writer probably thought for that particular scene. Because I was thinking though the whole time, this woman has a freaking knife, and Rand could easily jump on top of the stage. She's basically seen doing this, and could easily take her down just like that. Nope. Nope. Yep, and the reason why she did all the stones thing and real why she wanted to target her. Yeah, it turns out she was dismissed because she figured out that, see, her brother, because they said it was a friend of hers, actually was a brother, had accused the professor of plagiarism. Nope. It was actually quite more, let's just say, gross, per se. Basically, the professor revealed that her mother had been basically bribed him in order for her to get into college. And it turns out the professor was the one who forced the bribe, and he wanted more money from her just so she can study abroad. The brother found out about this, and then he killed the professor. Yep. So, yeah. At one point, it looked like Richmond was about to wake up, thinks Eri basically falling, but luckily enough, he was still asleep anyway, probably because he's a good heavy sleeper. But luckily enough, after she was knocked into the floor, he sees that she has a knife to reveal that, yeah, the reasoning for why her brother's in jail. He jumps up and just, well, disables her. Just like that. Okay. Yeah, kind of a weak way to end this little fight thing. I think it would have been better if it would have been his daughter. But no, it had to be Richard Moore for some reason because he's the title of the. Because it's his grand lecture. Yeah, and by the way, yeah, his lecture is actually told at the start, like after holding up because these two murders, he gives a lecture. And it's just him basically reminiscing his experiences. Yeah, like the audience was really hoping for the sleeping Moore. Nope. They had to wait into this whole thing. Yep. So all in all, when it comes to three-part, it's a pretty good three-parter, and it's well paced. Got hands to that. The other thing is a little bit of a step down from the last episode, last multi-part of the series had, but it's basically told really well. And of course, detectives are basically McGuire, Takagi, and Chiba. Yep, just these three. I keep thinking though, like, where is Sato? But she's going to show up in this chapter. We'll talk about that in a minute. But good three-parter. And apparently next week it looks like it's going to be set up for in-universe of a crossover between Mass Yaiba and the ripoff of Gamma. I think it's like Go. Kaigamera. Yeah, it's a crossover. It's a prelude episode, which is interesting. which is my turn to a multi-parter, probably stretching out for like over a month, until whenever the anime decides to start adapting the very next arc of the manga. Who the heck knows? Maybe they're waiting for this current arc to finish up before they decide to adapt the next arc. Yeah, possibly. Alright, let's talk about the newest chapter of the manga. Meijin Hand. We see first chapter starts with the cover page of Conan basically thinking about the three shogi boards. One having 3 legs, one having 2, the other one having 1. Possibly a serial killing, of course, is with the Junior Detective League. By the way, and of course they have various flashbacks of various characters who have been appearing in the past couple chapters. Basically the shogi practice group. We see the arsonist detective. He pops up briefly. He only pops up as one brief flashback image, and that's pretty much it. Mostly put, it's just Conan and Junior Detective League just basically just having a normal day, and then Conan gets a phone call. It's from Yumi. And apparently that her boyfriend's not been home. And they want to go look for him. Yep. About 3 shogi players, so yeah, it's like, because you're not a detective. Yeah, I was not nice, but you are. Buddy. Aw, no. Yeah, it says, just last night, Nezuko and I had a big fight over a difference opinion. Just because you laughed and made fun of me, I put cream on top of your rice. Then when you put it, yeah, they're arguing about food. Okay, must be lovey-dovey. Yep. And we cut to Sarah's middle brother just waking up, Taju waking up in the culprit's apartment. Who this guy is, I have no idea because, well, he's still in freaking shadow. And he's talking to him the whole period of time. He's being held captive. Apparently, he was knocked unconscious at some point and then tied up. So apparently, the culprit is basically being, well, shadow like usual. Of course, he's being freaking paranoid. And then we get unexpected appearance by Aki. Yep, first time he's actually appeared in the series. I'm trying to think, when was the last time he appeared? Oh yeah, it was a police serial woman case. That was the last time he appeared. Conan's parents, first time in quite a while they appeared. They appeared for just one brief section of the chapter, and that's pretty much it. Yep. Of course, he calls basically because, well, his brother's missing. And, by the way, his brother's actually one of the handful of people who know Aki's alive. Yeah, Sarah doesn't know yet. I would have thought, though, at some point he would tell her, but nope. Doesn't want to. So, yeah. So, Conan explains what's going on. And talk about how a ice cube tray, a blender, and a toaster significant. Yeah, basically consulting and figures out what the motive is. And, well, Conan teams up with Aki to. Yeah, apparently Conan kind of hints about Aki's mother, who's taken the same drug he and Ami took to basically turn into a child, though she's actually coughing a lot. She probably is sick. She probably has been stuck in this form for years, or probably she took a prototype version. It's not explicitly revealed yet. As a matter of fact, Sarah's not even in the chapter at all. There's a hint of their mother, but that's it. So yeah, they go looking for him, and he reveals though he actually has another smartphone. He contacts the other smartphone that his brother has, which apparently is a little connected between the two of them, and he gets a phone call from it, and he answers it. He picked up, and the guy tells him like, since we're shogi players, why don't we have a match? A blindfold shogi match with myself, the Meijin. Yep. Pretty interesting little chapter. And it says next week, break. Probably for 1 week. Now, when I saw this, I'm like, really? Why would you take a break partway through a story arc? Yeah, it makes a freaking sense. But this story arc is proving to be really interesting. Yeah, of the 3, this is the third story arc I've reviewed for this series since I've been, well, basically into Case Closed. And the first 2 are pretty decent for what they were. I mean, the best thing about, let's say, the first arc I reviewed, the one with the trays, was seeing Sarah. That was the best thing I thought that was my best thought about it. And the fact a little bit, and of course, getting her some character development. And seeing Aki in his Subaru form. The last arc was simply just seeing the return of Haji, his friend, in the English stuff for his Kristen, and seeing the return of that one girl, I think her name Moijin, I think her name is. She was from the last scene in the arc when basically where Ran basically reaffirmed her feelings for Sichi. And that was the last time she was in the series, along with her freaking butler. The arc itself, the whole case involving the whole murder thing, that was kind of weak. I mean, at least this arc proves to be a lot more interesting when it comes to the murder aspect of this particular arc. It's just as interesting as the character stuff. The last two arcs, the character stuff was more interesting than the actual murder itself. That is just my opinion, anyways, when it comes to the last three arcs. I didn't review the previous arc that came just before the Trey one because by the time I finally come to the manga, that arc had just finished up, and I did not want to. I did not want to review that particular story because, well, I didn't want to jump on to reviewing it in the middle of a story arc. That'd be kind of rude of me to do. So I waited to the very next arc to actually do it. That's why we have the Trey arc and, of course, the food arc, last one. This one's about shogi. Excuse me. Yes, it seems as though one thing I've noticed though when it comes to particular series that when they do shogi in this particular series, it's quite interesting. Yes, and whenever Sarah's middle brother shows up, it is one of the most interesting things of the whole series because he is such a fascinating character, and because he's a shogi player, he's a genius when it comes to detective work. Yeah, and great. And so far this arc, like in this now the last two chapters, we had Sato, Takagi. This one, and of course Yumi. This one just has Yumi's partner, and Cheba. I'm like, that's it for detectives? Like, no Takagi and Saito? Yep. But all in all, really good chapter. Heck, I thoroughly enjoyed reading it. But it seems kind of odd though. You spend the first like part of the chapter until Yumi calls Conan that it just focuses on detective boys. It's just okay when the chapter starts out. But once Yumi shows up, that's when I think the chapter is a lot more interesting. Though he's thinking about what happened there. But it seems as though when you read the chapter, it's like, okay, this part of the chapter feels a little bit of fillerish. Can we just please get back to what we're doing? And that's when it gets a lot more interesting. I had nothing against Detective Boys at all. I think they're great characters. I think some of the stuff basically is quite interesting. But this, just normal kid stuff. It's okay. That's my gist of it. I give this chapter roughly 9 out of 10. Really good chapter. Now, that's it for circular review. I have 3 more reviews coming today. Reviews of the newest episode of My Hero Academia, 7 Deadly Sins, and Fire Force. You're probably thinking, wait, what about new chapters of manga? Here's something quite strange, though. Apparently, they've not been released in English yet for some reason. Yeah, that's what I thought was really weird. Yeah, like 7 Deadly Sins, My Hero Academia, and Fire Force. That's why like they probably released new chapters already. Not released in English yet. I have not found them in English yet, so I can't review these chapters if they have been released. Now I know the 7 Deadly Sins released a new chapter, but it's not in English yet. It's not been translated. But as in the case of My Hero Academia and 7 Deadly Sin, Fire Force, just wait for the English translation because I can't review something, or at least read something that's in Japanese. I have nothing against people who like reading the Japanese stuff. It's just I don't speak Japanese. So I'm waiting for the English translation of the thing. Okay? So yeah, that's it. So my next view will be a review of the newest chapter of My Hero Academia. Okay? See you next view. Bye.